Welcome to the Dream Journal. From the studios of KSQD in Santa Cruz, the Dream Journal is a weekly show where we explore the power of nighttime dreams through conversations with dream experts and with listeners like you. A dream can be meaningful even if you don't know what it means. And today's music is called Bioluminescence, curated fresh by Rick Kleffel every week. Dreams want to be felt, not interpreted. Today, I have a solo show to talk about some of my favorite dream topics, like the treasure hunt with dreams and what I call the dreamer's paradox. Experiential Dreamwork today with me, your host, Katherine Bell. Welcome to the Dream Journal. We are also a weekly podcast. Please subscribe, rate, and review. Let's make that algorithm work in our favor. But most importantly, tell your friends. The mission of the show is to talk about dreams and get people talking to each other about dreams. So let your friends know about the podcast. Archives are available at Apple Podcasts and Spotify. You can also find us at our host organization, KSQD.org. That's the squid. At ksqd.org/the-dream-journal. All right, well, I'm going to share a dream that I had earlier this week. And in this dream, I see somebody skiing. It's this man just skiing down a slope, kind of tootling along. And I hear this voiceover. This man is blind, and so he's feeling his way and listening to where people are. And like, yeah, but is he really? Like when I look back in the dream, I don't know that I believe that narration because I see him skiing just fine. He's going down the slopes at a pretty normal pace. And this got me thinking about projections. And like how the way what a projection does is like it takes something from the past and it moves us into our line of sight. Like, oh, this horrible thing happened to me once. It's going to happen again. I just know it. I know it's going to happen. I'm going to be hurt. I'm going to be abandoned. I'm going to have all these terrible things. And yet, if we get to a place of having very few projections or where the projections are quiet, maybe it is a bit like being blind. Like, what is it about not knowing what's coming? Is there something valuable in not knowing what's coming instead of having these expectations and assumptions? So apparently I'm skiing along pretty well these days, which is a good thing because today is an unexpected solo show. We were expecting to have Jason Altaver in with us to talk about his limiting subconscious beliefs and how dreams help us with that. But Jason lives in Boone, North Carolina, and he is all tangled up in that Hurricane Helene, which is messing up that area. Not only does he have no power at home, but the roads are closed. He cannot get out. So I just hope you're safe, Jason. That's the most important thing. And that gives me a chance to actually hold forth on my own, which I will be doing today. I must say, after 5.5 years on the show, this is, I believe, the very first time I've totally come up without a guest. I've done some deliberate shows, like call-in only shows where I knew it was going to be just me and the callers, but never have I lost a guest at the very last minute. So I think it's been a very good run of things on this show, almost 280 shows, and this is the first. But I'm ready to vamp. I'm prepared. I had a good 45 minutes to decide what to talk about. And so I'm excited about that, actually. It actually turns out to be a pretty perfect opportunity because I have just finished my new webpage. It has been totally revamped. We even have the contact page now working, so you can contact me through my webpage, experientialdreamwork.com. Big shout out to the Divine by Design team and Drusa Lawson. And it's a beautiful page, amazing images and colors, and all based on, of course, my dreams. So you can take a look at that. This is good timing. That just happens to be, this is my launch of experientialdreamwork.com. So you can look for me there at that webpage. I also have social media, which I post on about the shows, including Instagram and Facebook. And you can follow me there at hashtag The Dream Journal. Nobody was using that hashtag, so I took it over. And that's one way to find out about upcoming shows. And you can look for my pages at Experiential Dreamwork. So I am looking to build up some of my social media followers because within hopefully about a year I'll be looking for a publisher, and publishers love that kind of stuff, to have lots of followers. And I know I've got listeners, but if you've never said follow, go ahead to at Experiential Dreamwork on Facebook and Instagram and give it a click. All right, so I'd like to start by talking about what one of my favorite topics in dreaming, which is dreams as a treasure hunt. Like, so many people don't want to look at their dreams, and many people don't even remember their dreams. And when people do remember them, often what they remember are the dreams, the difficult dreams, the dreams that don't feel so good, or the dreams that are boring and just plain weird. And yet I right, they're all weird. That's like a big nod there from my engineer, Rick. There is something there. And so I advocate a kind of treasure hunt mentality. So to realize that within the dreams, even the difficult dreams, there are beautiful moments. There may be peaceful moments, even if they don't last very long. There are people reaching out to us for help. So we can tune into those moments. Like, I have had such a theme. I think I'm finally kind of through this theme of running to catch my airplane. This has been a theme of mine for, a decade. And it's really shifted. I can't remember one of these dreams in the last few months. But there's something like, whenever I'm running to catch the airplane, often there'll be somebody there who is reaching out a hand. Like, maybe there's a travel agent who's going to book me a better flight, but nope, I just keep running. But yet that's the treasure. So even though it's a stress dream and I'm running down the runway, the jetway, trying to get to the plane on time, yet there's somebody helping me. And so I can remember that somebody is helping me. I can feel the sense of support. I can recognize that I do often feel stressed and in a hurry. And yet I can bring tenderness about that. Instead of shame, like, oh gosh, I really should be more calm, right? I really should be more peaceful. I can bring in a sense of tenderness about the stress that I often feel. And it doesn't matter if it's self-imposed or something in the world happens, and because stuff in the world does happen. And yet I can bring in that tenderness. And so I have this little formulation. I wasn't necessarily going to talk about this, but I'm going to bring it since I kind of started it, which is what I call the TLC method of Dreamwork, looking for the treasures by bringing in tenderness and longing and curiosity. The TLC of Dreamwork. So the tenderness is about noticing the difficult feelings, noticing that I'm having them, and that, just letting myself space to feel whatever I feel. And sometimes remembering the things that caused that stressful feeling. Like, I, grew up in a household where my mom had 4 kids within 6 years, or was it 7 years? And it was always a bit of a rush to get everybody out the door. And so maybe there's a way that I'm used to being in a hurry that way. So I can bring in that tenderness, because that was a long time ago, and yet that still lives in me. And then longing, I can bring in a longing for something better, for a sense of peacefulness, for a sense of calm. And so I can bring in a longing. So even those moments when I don't feel that peacefulness, I don't feel that calm, I can recognize that I'm longing for it. And so in the dream, I could hope for that. And then curiosity, TLC, tenderness, longing, and curiosity. There's something about being curious, like, where does that pattern come from? Like I was saying, it reminds me of being a child and trying to get everybody out the door, get everybody back in the car. There's all these moments when you have to get everybody together. And so that kind of brings in for me a lot of understanding about that dream of being in a hurry. And yet bringing in the dream I mentioned at the top, this recent dream about the supposedly blind man who's skiing just fine. Like maybe as I'm letting go of these projections that I can actually proceed just fine, without having expectations, without assuming it's all going to go wrong. Because that seems to be, the dreams have been helping me unravel that over the years. So these are part of the treasures that dreams are bringing. And so even those difficult dreams, even those frustrating, mundane dreams can be treasures. I'd like to think that even the dream itself, like the fact that we do dream is a treasure, that there's something really valuable about that. Research has suggested that dreaming helps us balance our emotional system. So the dreams, even the ones I don't remember, are helping. So somehow these strange stories are helping me come to emotional balance. They're helping me make decisions. And they're helping me become a better person. And so even if I don't remember a dream, after all, we all dream for 5-6 times a night. And yet I'm lucky to remember a couple of dreams a week. So that's, most of the dreams I have, I'm not even remembering. And there's plenty of people who just say, I don't remember my dreams. And yet those dreams are valuable. Every animal that has been studied has some kind of period during sleep which can be described as dreamlike. Dogs, of course, your pets, will twitch when they're sleeping at certain times, and we know they're dreaming. But then even creatures like octopuses and cuttlefish, that they change colors when they're awake in response to danger, and they have periods during their sleep when they start changing colors, even though they're just asleep. So the hypothesis is that they're dreaming. So octopuses seem to be dreaming, and even spiders. Can you believe spiders? Spider scientists brought home all of her spiders during the COVID pandemic and noticed that at night when the spiders were sleeping, that they would go through periods of twitching during their sleeping. So she hypothesizes that they're dreaming too. So there's something incredibly valuable about the whole process of dreaming. And so we don't even have to really understand it to get value from the dreams. We don't even have to remember our dreams. So there's a lot of good that they're doing behind the scenes. Otherwise, why would we be doing it? Millions of years after life started on the planet, it seems that every creature that's been studied has some kind of dreaming period. And so there's something valuable, there's some treasure here in the dreams themselves. Just having the dream is valuable. So that brings us to the whole idea of meaningfulness. So like if we have the dreams and they are valuable whether we remember them or not, if they're valuable, even if we never bring them to consciousness, we never talk about them to somebody else, we never write about them or draw about them, or all those things that we say are so good about deepening the dream. What if we don't know what a dream means? Maybe that's all right. Maybe it's not a question of finding meaningfulness. Maybe it's not a question of saying, oh, this dream refers to this waking life experience. Now, sometimes the one-to-one correspondence is remarkable. Sometimes I can find just the perfect connection, like this idea of the hurrying for the airplane dreams. That feeling in the dream parallels so intensely the feeling I so often get in waking life of I'm late, I gotta go, I'm gonna miss it. So the feeling is so much in parallel. And yet I gotta believe that there is something valuable even if I never make this waking life connection. I do want to say about this series of dreams that I'd had a dream, it's been 9 months ago or so, which seemed to create some kind of resolution in the theme. And I have had far fewer of these dreams ever since. And that dream was I'm running down through a terminal, trying to get to an airplane. And I just somehow, maybe I hear an announcement, I don't know. Somehow I know I'm not going to make the plane. The plane maybe it's already left. I just suddenly get this idea, it's too late. And it doesn't matter. I didn't get the plane. I missed it. And so I just stopped running. I just stopped. And I stopped standing there in the terminal. And there's this man beside me, like as if my angel finally caught up with me. If I had to stop running before he could catch up. And here he is standing beside me. And then there's like a seam in the dream. There's a shift. And I find myself at a restaurant. At a restaurant in the terminal, I guess. I don't know. Some kind of restaurant. And I just know I can get fed here. And the man's still with me. So there's somehow that letting go of this theme of being in a hurry allowed me to be nourished, allowed me to find connection. And it's true that in waking life there has been a shift in my sense of being in a rush. It's still there, but it's not as strong. I can laugh about it. And yet there's something about that is in many ways the exception. Like I have many of my dreams, most of my dreams, I don't know what they relate to. I don't know about this blind skier on the slope. I don't know what that's all about. I had this theory about, projections and all that. But if I just feel into being that blind man, because of course the parts of the dreamer are the parts of the dream are the parts of the dreamer. So some part of me is like that blind man skiing. There's a lot of freedom and excitement, and I can kind of feel the wind on my face in a way that I don't usually notice when I'm skiing, because I do love to ski. It's something I really enjoy. And there's something there. And so this is a sense of meaningfulness, a sense of sliding along, joyful, not expecting the worst. So there's no real interpretation to this dream, and yet it has deep meaningfulness. So that's why at the top of the show, I always start with this phrase that I'd like to say, that a dream can be meaningful even if you don't know what it means. And the way to find meaningfulness in dreams, that at least what I have found works for me, is to go into the dream and to notice the feelings of the dream and be curious, tenderness, longing, curiosity. Just bring in a sense of acceptance of the value of this feeling. There's something that this dream is working out. And people like to say dreams are messages, and I don't know if they are or they not, because there's this old rabbinic saying that a uninterpreted dream is like a letter unopened. Yeah, well, I got a mountain of unopened letters because most of the dreams I've ever had are not interpreted. In fact, I try to stay away from an interpretation if by what that I mean is a one-to-one correspondence with some kind of waking life situation. So, meaningfulness does not require understanding, does not require an interpretation, and yet there's incredible value in spending time with dreams. I have found that it's sped my evolution. I feel like it has helped me with so many issues, and the people I work with, I see their dreams evolve. I see my own dreams evolve. I see their insights and that sense of aha. Like this is the touchstone of Dreamwork, is the aha. Like when I have what does that mean to have an aha? It's just like a flash of insight. And once again, it can be insight without even knowing what I'm having the insight about. That I can go, oh, and yet I don't know why I'm saying, oh, it's just something feels better. Something is more relaxed in my body. Something makes sense. Something clicks. And so I like to bask in a dream. I like to go to the feelings in the dream and just rest there. Maybe a memory comes up, maybe a thought, or not. But usually I eventually get to a place where I get an aha. There's some kind of like, oh. And now this is where it can be valuable to talk to other people, because other people often have insights about our dreams that we do not have about our own dreams. You know, they come from different backgrounds. Maybe they don't have the same blinders that we have. You know, we look at our life in a certain way. One thing that is always so fascinating to me about working with dreamers is each of us has very different kinds of dreams. I mean, there's a lot in common, but there are different themes that different people have. And I think that's true in waking life too. I think people have different experiences of life, and that we assume because we're talking and relating in this waking life plane that there's a certain similarity, and there's a lot in common. But there are differences. We all have a different history, a different perspective, different expectations, and it really shows up in the dreams. So that brings me to something I like to call the dreamer's paradox. There's something about, so what is the dreamer's paradox? So this is just something that I've been mulling over and I've been writing about. And the idea about the dreamer's paradox is that dreamers are, they're uniquely blind to their own dreams. Like, you know, another person might be able to give me a suggestion and then go, oh, I hadn't thought of it that way. That makes a lot of sense. So I could have a big aha to what somebody says. So there's two things when that happens, two things. One is that I'm uniquely blind to my dream because it's my dream. I think the dreams sometimes are spotlighting our blind spots. They're like shining a light into some place we've never seen before. So we're like, I don't speak that language. I don't know what that means. I never thought about it that way. I can't really fit that into my brain. So I have like a blindness about my own dreams, and that's totally normal. In fact, that's, I think, one thing dreams are doing is stretching us and opening up our vision. So dreamers are uniquely blind to their own dreams, and yet the dreamer is the only one who can say what their dream means. So this is like ethics, dream ethics 101. The dreamer is the authority of their own dream. And this is, again, the cornerstone of the IASD ethics statement, the International Association for the Study of Dreams, which is that I may have ideas about somebody else's dream, but they are the ones who get to tell me whether that idea makes sense to them or not. So they are the ultimate authority on their own dream, even though they are also at the same time uniquely blind to their meaning of their dream. So this is what I call the dreamer's paradox. And it's something that I've really observed in dreaming, in my own dreams, and the folks I work with, and people come on the show to talk about dreams, that we are all uniquely blind to the meaning of our dreams, and yet also we are the only ones who can say what the dream truly means. So there is something about that is, you know, what is that old phrase they used to say? All truth is a paradox. And if you found a truth that's not a paradox, then keep looking, because you haven't got the full truth yet. And so this is just one of those koans of dreaming that makes dreaming so fascinating, because there is something incredibly enchanting about dreaming, something that really defies logic in a very gleeful way, that there can be a lot of mystery in dreams. There can be a lot of magic in dreams, things that don't make sense. Earlier version of Jeremy Taylor's book was titled Where People Fly and Water Runs Uphill. And their dreams can be entirely magical. Like I had flying horses. I've had, airplanes falling out of the sky. I've had past life experiences. I've had precognitive dreams. I've had visitations from dead people. And there's just all these things that dreams do that are so far out of the logic of everyday life. And yet there is something meaningful here. There is like some deep sense of meaning, as Viktor Frankl talks about in Man's Search for Meaning, that this is like one of the key things about humans, is finding meaning is incredibly important to all of us. And putting your own life into perspective, telling the story of your own life is really valuable. So there's something that dreams do for me that I find very valuable, is helping me reframe my own story. So looking back at my past and seeing myself not as a victim, but as a survivor. to see myself as someone who's resilient, someone who made some strange choices along the way. And yet here I am now, and I'm so grateful for being here. So there's something about that is just that's just the value of dreams. Bringing the magic into dreams is something that I think dreams invite, and dreams invite a certain enchantment. I think it's Thomas More's book, The Enchantment of Everyday Life. I think that's the name of the book. And there's a way that dreams really do that. They really bring in a sense of enchantment and bring in some strange mysteries, some head-scratching strange things. Maybe they bring in puns and metaphors, or maybe they'll slap you in the face, tell you something really specific. But there's something about dreaming that is valuable. And so the whole prospect of dreaming is a treasure. Why do I spend all this time in my life talking about dreams, writing about dreams, creating events about dreams? We're just getting together. Our next IASD event for next summer is going to be online, so everybody can attend from wherever around the world. And I'm part of the team of that, and it's a lot of work, and it's just exciting to me to bring people together. We're also doing an in-person event here in Santa Cruz, October 25. And so that will be in person. You can meet other people and talk about dreams. And it's just an invitation to open up the magic. Okay, wow. So that is a lot. And I'm really grateful to have this chance to hold forth on my own. I guess I had a lot to say, and I am excited. And after the break, we'll be taking callers, so we can get some other voices in here. We also have people in the studio, and I have someone texted me a dream that we can share. But I want to let you know that you are listening to The Dream Journal. We are broadcast live from the KSQD studios in Santa Cruz and co-broadcast live in San Jose by KCXU. Welcome back. This is The Dream Journal, and my name is Katherine Bell, and I want to let you know about our far-flung listeners. It's always fun to see who's listening online. We have Santa Cruz, San Francisco, Oakland, California, and then we have listeners at New Albany, Ohio, Ashburn, Virginia, and Sandston, Virginia. Welcome to The Dream Journal. So glad to have you on the air.
Hey, Katherine, I just wanted to discuss with you. I recently heard that one of our most famous and favorite writers, a man by the name of Alan Moore, is a veteran keeper of dream journals. And he's the man who brought us Watchmen, V for Vendetta, From Hell, The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. He's arguably the best creator of graphic novels in the world today, and he has kept a dream journal for years, and he finally found a use for it. The name of his main character, Dennis Knuckleyard, in his new novel, Long London. He had that in a dream, and he wrote that down, I guess years ago, and kept it just for the time when that character became a reality. And we'll be hearing about his novel soon.
Okay. Yeah, dreams are very valuable to artists. I mean, certainly visual artists, but also people who write stories and poems. I've had poets on the show fairly frequently telling me that they regard their dream journal as their primary source of inspiration for poems. And so there is a lot of creativity and also stories. Of course, Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein based on a dream, I believe, and also Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There's been a number of stories based on dreams that are very famous, very well known. So that's great. I'd like to hear more about this guy's books. Maybe I should look them up. Thank you, Rick.
Well, he's a wonderful author, and I think one of the things that dreams allow us to do that also fiction allows us to do is to externalize the conflicts within us and outside of us that are difficult to talk about, and to turn those conflicts into narratives and into stories, even though in dreams they're very unusual stories. And that's a way of talking about the forbidden.
Yes, talking about the forbidden. Oh, I love that. Dreams will go there. Yes, they will. Talking about sex. Now we're talking about poop. Yeah, their dreams will go there. And that difficult experience that you had that you never want to think about, guess what? You're dreaming about it. So they do go there. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate those insights. So we have in the studio Stephen E. Popp, who is one of the co-hosts of the In the Garden show that immediately precedes ours, and he is also himself an avid dreamer, and he is here to share a dream.
I am. Thank you, Catherine. It's good to be on the show again. And I still don't buy this notion, by the way, that only 1 in 10 dreams are of sexual content. But I guess your experiences may vary. But
absolutely, I think if that's an average, I'm sure that there is a whole range of content.
Yeah. Well, as a guy who dreams. I only sleep perhaps an hour or so each night, interrupted sleep all night long, so an hour to an hour and a half at a time. So I go through dream cycles constantly, and some of the types of dreams that I have, there's the standard sort of just stress dream, where things pop up and it's a small weird event or something. Then there's the sort of journey dreams. But one dream that I had recently that is really, it was a very more heavy content and detailed. And I used to live in this house up in the mountains in Greenville, California, which is burnt to the ground a couple of years ago. It's all gone. But that house shows up in my dreams quite frequently. And in this one particular dream, I was in that house, but the house had changed. It was much larger, and it almost appeared to be a Victorian style house, which it was not. And I'm in the house, and there's a party going on. And all of these people are dressed in tuxedos and almost look as though they are of a Victorian period. And I'm feeling very out of place. And I notice that all of the front walls and doors are actually panes of glass. It's like a glass house, at least all through the front. It's nighttime. There are lanterns burning outside along the walkway, and so it's either gaslight or flame light. But I'm inside the house, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't think I belong here. There's something odd about being here, and I'm just about to leave. I'm just about to go out the door when this huge animal, cat, feline type animal, bursts through the front door. And this thing is huge. And it looks like a combination between a lion and a tiger. And it is ransacking the house. People are screaming and running around. It's munching down on people. And I'm terrified. And I find a little, almost like a closet space but still with glass walls and curtains. And I'm pushing myself into a corner as best I can. And I see this thing go by me, and it's pushing its head against the door. And I know it's going to get in, and I'm pushing it with all my might against it. And all of a sudden it stops, and it's just gone around, and it finds the back door, so to speak, and it's there. It's on me. At that moment, I try to grab its head, and I realize it's just a big cat, and I start rubbing its nose, and it starts purring. It stops its attack, and I think to myself, okay, I can't let go of this thing, but I can't stay here. So I pick it up. I'm actually able to pick this monstrous beast up. It's a dream. Right. And I'm carrying it out the walkway away from the house. And that's kind of how the dream ended. Was just me having, I don't know, confronted this fear, whatever it was, and then carrying it away out into the dark, rubbing its nose, which felt like sandpaper, and that was that.
Wow. Okay.
A little strange.
That is interesting. So what's it like to talk about the dream now? What's coming up for you as you share the dream here?
Well, I'll tell you the first thing that came up when I actually thought about the dream the next morning was that I didn't know what this beast was, and I've never heard of a cross between a tiger and a lion. Well, guess what? They exist. They're called ligers, and they were first bred in like 1780 something, and they were thought to be sterile. You know, the males were sterile, but they exist. There are these lion-tiger crosses that do exist, and they look mostly like a lion but have stripes and that sort of thing. So that was the first revelation for me, that I had never heard of these things. But sharing the dream right now, it does bring up that whole thought process that I go through when why am I in this house again, and why does it resemble in certain respects, another house that I lived in as a child that had some glass walls. It had like a, what would you call it, a solarium off of one side of the house with these glass paned walls and that environment. And I do have cats, but no ligers.
No ligers. No. So there's something about that house, perhaps. Those two houses. It kind of seems like there's several houses that are...
Yeah, they meld together.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, and your houses are interesting in dreams. It is fairly common to have a house that in my mind is like, say, my childhood home, and yet it looks nothing like it. And yet but that's somehow very clearly, this is that house. And so Nick, I would be thinking about the things that happened in that house. Right. And like, is there something coming up for me that...
Well, that's an interesting thought. Both of those locations, the one in the mountains and the one that I grew up in that had the solarium, they were beloved homes that I had to give up.
Oh, interesting.
So it was very traumatic for me as a child, giving up. I was 13, I think, the first one. But I was born there. I grew up there, and I absolutely loved it. It was magical. And then being up in the mountains in Greenville, that home also was very, very significant and magical to me.
And it left in a very dramatic way of being burned down.
Yeah, I wasn't there when that happened, fortunately, but leaving it at all, leaving the mountains, was dramatic for me. So,
I bet.
Yeah.
So it's like so there's kind of a parallel there in those two homes. It makes me wonder, is there something that I'm leaving now? Is there something that I'm leaving?
Well, I've been thinking about that. You know, I'm aging, and I have a piece of property with a big garden, and nobody to leave it to. So there's perhaps those thoughts. Mortality creeps in, and there was definitely a lot of mortality in this dream.
Yes.
And the oddest part for me, though, is still trying to figure out this sensation of being out of place, out of time.
Okay.
There were these people in Victorian dress, and they were definitely not my class of people. They would not associate with me had it been those times. And I don't know, the role-playing aspect of it all. But
Okay.
definitely felt out of place and not particularly welcome.
And less than.
Yes, less than. Definitely less than, not above.
And yet the tiger was destroying these people. And when it came to me,
It was cool.
it was cool. I could pet the
Yeah,
tiger.
I thought it was going to kill me, but
Yeah.
but indeed it did not. And
So
was
Interesting. So in some ways, the tiger preferred you to the other people. It did not attack you, although you thought it might.
I'm happy to hear you say that. I like that. Yeah, that's a nice interpretation.
Well, yeah.
Cats generally like me, yeah. And cats know. They know if you don't like them. They know. They'll come sit in your lap right away.
Well, you had something to do with it too, because you didn't like scream and cover your face. You thought,
I cowered. I definitely cowered. I
Okay.
was like, no, this is not good. And there was no way out. I knew that if I exposed myself, I know the nature of felines and how, if you run, they chase. It's that predator instinct in them. But in this case, and I have been around very large cats before, and I have a great deal of respect for the power of those animals. But this was an encounter, and I'm confused by why would I make a mix of a lion and a tiger, thinking that was purely imagination, yet to find out they actually exist.
True enough. Well, I mean, we could go down the thing of what does tigers mean to you, what do lions mean to you, and that could be
Everything.
Oh,
They're the world.
What do you mean?
I love them. I the big cats. I'm all of the big cats, and they're endangered. And snow leopard is something that I've taken on as a project to try and help the Himalayan snow leopards and that sort of thing. So,
okay.
But yeah, I mean, there's
extinction. Once again, we're coming back around again to death,
yes,
perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Decline, mortality.
Yeah.
Destruction.
And yet I tame this fearsome creature by petting it.
Yeah, but I also felt great trepidation. I mean, I'm carrying it like I'm carrying a stick of dynamite or something, or nitroglycerin. You don't know.
It's like a tiger by the tail, but you had a tiger by the head.
By the nose.
By the nose.
Yeah, so to speak.
Right.
As long as I give Kitty some rubs, then we're good. But the minute it stopped, and I'm quite glad I woke up.
Yeah.
That
can be good to wake up sometimes.
I think so.
Yeah, but
But it sticks with me. That one sticks with me.
Yeah, no, I can see why. It's very powerful. I take great comfort that I found a way to tame the tiger. I found a way to make friends, even though I don't quite trust it. I mean,
there was that old thing about the monster in your dreams, and stopping at some point and turning to it and saying, "Hey, what do you want?" And the monster says, "Hey, it's your dream."
Right.
You
tell me.
You tell me. But making fun or making friends with the monster under the bed, so to speak.
So you have
it.
really done that.
I have.
And so taking that to what we were talking about before, now it's not a one-to-one correlation, but is there a way that I'm starting to make friends with the idea of death?
Oh, I'm working on it every day.
Yeah.
It's a daily meditation.
Well, it seems
impermanence and all of that. It has to be.
Something's sinking in because
and I'm getting older, and it's all. There are issues with age, as we know.
As we know, exactly. Yeah, no, this is gorgeous dream, and I really it's like maybe that final image might be something to ponder of holding the head of the tiger and petting it, but so feeling afraid to let go of it.
Absolutely.
And yet in the moment I'm safe, but I'm afraid to let go. Like the head even makes me think about my thoughts, or like, am I holding my head?
And the head was bigger than my own.
Wow.
It was just, it was huge. And the fact that I could actually carry it, but again, that's dream physics,
right,
so to speak.
Yes.
The things we can do. But
So just staying with the feelings of the dream, and like be curious about the sense of not belonging. The question of, and the last scene, when you're holding the cat's head and petting it, do you still have that feeling of not belonging, or is that just?
I have the feeling that I have accomplished what I needed to do, was to get away from these people in this house.
Oh, okay. So maybe the tiger was helping me get away from these people.
Well, it gave me an excuse, if nothing else. And did I feel like I was saving them all from more destruction or something? No, that didn't really enter my head.
No.
But they were pretty destroyed. I mean, there was some graphic violence in the dream.
well, maybe I don't need those people anymore. Maybe I don't need that sense of less than anymore. Maybe I'm getting rid of the
aristocracy and hierarchy and all of that kind of thing, perhaps.
It's not about them. It's about me here.
It definitely was about me. And having that, that fear and trying to overcome it, but then that longing sensation for the place and knowing that it's gone, knowing they're both gone.
Right.
Forever. They're demolished. It's gone. So,
as will we all be gone someday.
True enough.
Yeah.
Well, our energy will be converted.
That's it.
Yeah. Star stuff.
Yeah. We don't know. It's the one thing that's totally inevitable, and yet we know nothing about. There's a lot of theories.
True.
But it's inevitable.
Yeah, and I think it behooves us all to pay attention to that and not live your life in a way that doesn't acknowledge the impermanence, because it'll come someday. And I think that, the fear perhaps of mortality gets in the way of living our lives to their fullest.
Well said. That's beautiful. It can be a very deep spiritual practice, too.
Absolutely. Well, it is. And for Tibetan Buddhism, it is a spiritual practice and a daily practice in meditation.
The acknowledging of death.
Yeah, impermanence. And I don't go sit in the charnel grounds or the cemetery, but I'm
sure there are people who do that.
There are.
But, the dreams brought that to you. You didn't have to go.
That's right. No, there was plenty of carnage right there. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I guess maybe there was something about the carnivore aspect that, cats are obligate carnivores. Yeah, they don't make good vegetarians.
No, they have to eat meat. That's the only thing they eat. Right?
They do. Whereas we have the option. We have the choice.
Yes.
So,
interesting.
Well, lots of tangents there. But thank you for letting me share that with you.
Steve, thank you so much. It's good to have you on the show.
Terrific.
Excellent.
Thanks again.
Okay. All right. Well, we have just a few minutes left, and I could just get. This is the time of the show when I usually ask my guests for contact information, and so I guess I can go ahead and give that for myself, since the guest is stuck in a hurricane in North Carolina today. So I have my new webpage, experientialdreamwork.com, which has been significantly upgraded and modified thanks to the team at Divine by Design. And I would be excited to have people look at the page. I think there's a few little corners that aren't quite right, a few lorem ipsums tucked here and there, but basically we're up and running, and I would love some feedback. I have lots of free content on the page. I have a lot of interviews that I've done for other people. There's links to the shows, of course, but there's also there's some links to professional talks I've given, and some of writing. A little bit of some articles that I have published are on the webpage for free. So I would love to have you check it out and give me some feedback. That's experientialdreamwork.com. You can also follow me on Instagram and Facebook at #TheDreamJournal. And my business page on both of those is at Experiential Dreamwork. So you can look for me there. Like I said at the beginning, I'm looking to build up my following to spread the word about dreams. The more people follow, the more the algorithm will spread it around, and the more people I attract, the happier my future publisher will be, because I am writing a dream book called The Treasure Hunt at this point. We'll see what it's really going to be called. And the idea is to get people excited about dreams and about dream sharing, and also to get clinicians interested in talking about dreams with their clients, because everybody should have somewhere to share dreams. And the Dream Journal podcast is one of those places that you can share. And I'm so glad to have had this opportunity to talk about dreams for 5.5 years now, up to 280 shows. And it's been a real blessing. Okay. So thank you much for listening. The Dream Journal is produced at the studios of KSQD in Santa Cruz. We are live every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific at ksqd.org, so you can listen, call in, hear what goes on behind the scenes. The podcast is released on the Monday after the show. It spreads interest in dreaming when you subscribe, rate, and review. Please contact me if you'd like to be a guest on the show sometime. You can promote a new book or tell folks about your dream-related offerings. You can also contact me to get interested in dream coaching. My name is Katherine Bell, and you can email me at katherine@ksqd.org. That's KATHERINE@ksqd.org. I'd like to thank Rick Kleffel, engineer and music creator. You can find the ambient music at pandemia.com. And also Eric Nelson, who is manning the phones today. Intro and outro pieces are both by Mood Science. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, take a minute to write down your dream and bring it to the next Dream Journal.
Where you've come from is gone. Your